A state trooper pulls over a van driven by a suspected terrorist who's just blown up a city hall, killing 5 people.
Step to the rear of your vehicle.
Emerging, the driver trades shots with the trooper before being wounded. As the trooper approaches,
Driver, let me see your hands.
the terrorist sets off a remote-controlled bomb. A passerby who tries to help suffers a heart attack. Responding to the incident, paramedics rush through clouds of potentially toxic gas and begin life-saving efforts. The opening of this bloody scenario was all part of a mass casualty training exercise conducted by the LSU Health Sciences Center, the Louisiana National Guard and State Police, along with local law enforcement, fire, and emergency workers. The drill was unique because instead of human actors playing wounded civilians, as is usually the case in such exercises, high-tech computer-driven patient simulators were used for the first time in the United States to test the ability of civilian medical workers to deal with the consequences of a terrorist incident.
In a very realistic setting, we can simulate many aspects of the disaster and prepare them for the shock.
The shock in this drill was graphic. The trooper was badly burned, the witness barely alive, and the wounded terrorist gushing blood from a bullet wound to the leg. In addition, his intestines were protruding from a gunshot wound of the abdomen. Most ominously, reddish pustules covered the gunman's face and hands, suggesting smallpox, the deadly disease that kills 30% of those it infects and leaves survivors permanently scarred.
This simulation equipment is absolutely imperative and a critical piece of being able to do a realistic exercise and realistic training for our first responders.
The $60,000 a copy mannequins, manufactured by Medical Education Technologies, were purchased by the state of Louisiana. The remarkable devices are life-sized, bleed, breathe, and fluctuate their heart rates. They can cry and respond to oxygen.
Still breathing, still breathing.
Their eyes can close or blink at different speeds, and their pupils react to light. There are even remotely operated speakers in their mouths, allowing human operators to respond to questions from EMTs.
Where's the pain going?
Shoots up in my neck.
The simulators, which are also used by the U.S. military, are so anatomically correct they can be intubated, medicated, ventilated, defibrillated, and die if EMTs make a mistake or if operators decide to throw in an unplanned twist.
You can practice things, hit the reset button, go back and do things that you would never have a chance to do in a real patient.
In the same way airline pilots train on flight simulators, experts believe using patient simulators realistically hones the skills of emergency medical workers, helping them overcome fear and possible squeamishness in treating mass casualties.
People panic when they first get into a setting, and you can read about it, and you can study it, and you can take tests on it, and you can pass the test and be certified, but until you actually are on the ground handling a catastrophe, you don't know how you're going to react to it.
EMTs in the exercise were confronted with life-threatening complications. All 3 patients stopped breathing at various points, requiring technicians to quickly respond with CPR and electroshock therapy. Eventually, all 3 were stabilized enough to be transported to the hospital.
Was there a lot more interaction, a lot more realism?
In a review following the exercise, paramedics said the drill was challenging.
I find it's I learn a lot more when I've made a mistake. And these things will help you on your mistakes.
Efforts are underway to obtain more than $8 million to buy 32 more simulated patients for use in training emergency personnel across Louisiana. Although many states, including Louisiana, are conducting such anti-terrorism drills, no state has yet combined the management of the medical consequences into the exercises because the patient simulators simply did not exist until now. As a result, innovative drills like this are giving Louisiana an opportunity to consolidate a commanding national lead in cutting-edge disaster training.
Before, it was always the assumption everyone went home happy and lived happily ever after. But today, we can now determine if that patient lived or died based on response of that first responder on the ground.
Patient training simulators eventually also will be used to create a virtual hospital where healthcare professionals can train as teams to sharpen their medical proficiency, which in turn will reduce errors.
With impending potential attack of Iraq and the repercussions that may come from that makes these types of scenarios, even in small town America, a very high probability. I'd rather be prepared for something that never happens than to be unprepared for something of catastrophic proportion.
Events emergency medical workers hope they never see, but at the same time recognize are probably inevitable in these dangerous times.